Smiley from the Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for Friday, February 17th. So we have the moon in Capricorn all day. Of course, the moon in Capricorn trying to keep us grounded, trying to keep us anchored into this present moment. We have a to-do list. We have things we need to kind of wrap up at this particular purging season. We are just days away from this new moon in Pisces. That is definitely going to set the tone for a brand new cycle for us to kind of create new elements under. And of course, we are but hours away of shifting into Pisces season. So this moon in Capricorn, although has us very kind of stuck in a semi-negative narrative, that's only because there's a lot of weight upon us right now. The pressure to get our shit together, to get things in order, to get organized, to start building new elements. It's a lot. And we're definitely feeling it in our physical body, definitely feeling heavy and weighted in our physical body, really kind of lacking a lot of, I'm going to say physical energy, but also emotional energy as well, as the moon in Capricorn, not so concerned with emotions, would rather just focus on being productive and actually seeing the fruits of our labor. So we have an interesting day here today. A couple of reasons for that. First of all, we will have the moon in Capricorn go void, of course, very late in the day, and then set us up for the moon shifting into Aquarian energy very early on Saturday morning. That is a little bit of an interesting dynamic, seeing that we will be shifting into Pisces season and wrapping up the Aquarius season. That moon moving into Aquarius just hours before the sun moves into Pisces is kind of trying to keep this Aquarius party continuously bumping. You know, we're having a hard time giving up that Aquarian energy. So we're definitely going to shift emotionally into it with the moon as we do a deep dive into the very deep probing waters of Pisces energy. We'll cover that in just a second. If you haven't listened to the astro forecast that I put out for Pisces season, go ahead, take a listen. That'll kind of set the mood, set the tone on what it is that we will be moving into for the next month. But this is the last full day of Aquarius season, which means that there's an added pressure to kind of wrap things up. Now, what are we wrapping up? Well, you can go back and listen to what Aquarius season was all about in order to see how that manifested in your life. But basically, we are going to feel a lot of this mental pressure and what I would say nervous energy as well. We also have 13 different aspects taking place here today, 9 of them involving the moon, and Mercury tries to steal a little bit of the spotlight, which of course, Mercury being in Aquarius energy, definitely going to push the boundaries of our internalized thought process. We will be making sense, connecting the dots of a lot of the particular life lessons that we were set to learn looking back, and of course push the boundaries on what it is that we believe in, what it is that we believe is possible for us as far as futuristic elements go, and really pushing the boundaries of where it is that we can kind of come up with a new vision, a new dream. Of course, working smarter instead of harder. So the moon goes ahead, bumps into Mars in such a way that I wouldn't say this is a positive aspect, but it's not necessarily a negative one either. What it is going to do is create a little bit of a tension point, a learning opportunity, a choice point, if you will. Now, keep in mind, the moon in Capricorn is very grounded, very weighted in this present moment, recognizing what it is that we have to clean up as far as past elements go before we can go ahead and start building towards the future elements that we're starting to kind of piece together and strategize over. We have Mars, who is the god of war, ruling over our physical energy, our drive, our passion, our desires, even our anger, in this Gemini energy, ready and eager to take action to make things happen on bringing new ideas, new projects, new goals, new paths, new directions to life. And so what we get here is a little bit of a, again, tension point, conflict. Why? Because Mars is eager to move forward. He wants to take action without thinking of the long-term consequences of this action, which the moon in Capricorn does not get down with, right? We do not make any kind of movements under the Capricorn energy without some real careful thought, some real careful strategy, especially when thinking about the long-term plans and goals that we're looking to bring to life. But even more than that, You have Mars looking towards the future. You got the moon in Capricorn focused on the past. So this is why we're kind of arriving at this tension point, this conflicting point of choices, because there's a part of us that just wants to abandon the old topics, the old themes, the old projects and goals that need some loose ends tied up. We feel like we should abandon it, just cut it off because we're done with it. We don't really want to bring it to a finalized completion point. Or should we just kind of dig in and deal with what is on our plate right now and sort it out and bring it to a finality point so that we have a clean slate to go ahead and start kind of strategizing upon on how it is that we are going to move forward and bring some of these aspects to life. Now, the sun goes ahead and semi-squares Chiron. The sun is in Aquarius energy, so we do have the ability to act as the observer, to emotionally detach from our current circumstances in order to see things a little bit more clear, if you will. Chiron, being the wounded healer, is illuminating for us our fears, our doubts, our insecurities when it comes to actually moving forward. The sun, of course, in this Aquarian energy, shining a very big, beautiful, bright light on the possibilities of the future, on pushing the boundaries of our comfortability, of our reality, on where it is that we want to do better, be better, improve our lives, constantly progress in a brand new direction. But yet here we are at the very final degrees of Aquarian energy that the sun is in, and this is a crisis point. This is a very intense energy coming over us. And just as we know that we're about to move on and creating something new, these negative narratives, these shadow parts within our fears, our doubts, our insecurities are coming up, really preventing us from feeling as confident as we would like to actually be able to move forward. So then the moon goes ahead, trines Uranus, which is an interesting dynamic, seeing as Uranus is the ruler of all of this Aquarian energy. We have Uranus currently in Taurus energy, and this is where we get the trine from, the moon in Capricorn, earth energy, Uranus in Taurus, earth energy. And together, we are really kind of blending together our 100% mission. Now, 100% mission of what, you may ask? Well, Uranus has been in Taurus energy, retrograde for the last 4.5 months, now direct, still trying to kind of weed through what needs to stay, what needs to go, but illuminating for us our attachments, our fears, what it is that we're afraid to let go of, where it is that we're holding on so damn tightly to the physical elements of our reality that we don't have the free hand space to open our hands up and receive the blessings, the elements, the topics, and the themes coming at us because we're holding on to the old elements blocking us from making progress to dear life. So the moon in Capricorn is here to push us into a boss role. We got to boss up. We got to stand up, step up to the plate. We're moving into new roles and responsibilities here. We have to take control. We have to be the authority in our lives and understand where it is that essentially we are preventing our own progress. And that is the last thing that we want to do. Now, this is likely to give us a truly profound aha moment, a little bit of an epiphany on what is safe, what is stable, what is secure in our physical realms where routines, relationship, money matters, goals, projects are concerned, and what isn't. And after yesterday's Sun and Saturn conjunction, we should have been bitch slapped with reality in order to see where it is that we have to take a little bit more of a sober approach on what it is that we want to create in our realm. Recognizing where it is that we're lacking order, we're lacking organization, we're lacking structure. And this particular aspect is here to give us a beautiful, bigger perspective on what needs to stay, what needs to go, and what is staying, where it needs to grow into something a little bit stronger, a little bit more stable. The moon interacts with Mars again, this time in a beautiful energy. So earlier we had a little bit of a tension, a little bit of a conflict point on two different pages, two different directions. Right now, the moon and Mars, we're getting inspired. We're getting motivated. Why? Because we're making some progress in our mental plane, in our emotions, although emotions aren't very strong with the moon in Capricorn. And mostly we are seeing some productivity really take place. We are getting organized. We understand what we have to zoom in on. And therefore, we're tapping into the positive qualities of Mars, which is inspiration, motivation, determination. We are hell-bent on recognizing what it is that we want, what we need, what we desire. And we're actually strategizing a plan now between the earthy, anchored, grounded energy that keeps us real in this Capricorn energy and the Gemini energy that Mars is in, really showing us where it is that we can kind of push the mental plane into seeing where new ideas, new inspirations, new motivations are actually exciting us to get to work, to be able to actually take action, move forward, and be in pursuit of these new elements that we deem are going to make us happy. The moon sextiles Neptune. Now, here's an interesting little, I'm going to say, display for you. The moon sextiles Neptune. About a half hour later, Mercury semi-squares Neptune. So the moon is in support of Neptune, which allows us to align with our higher selves. Our intuition is strong. We are giving ourselves permission to kind of remind ourselves of the dream and the vision and the goals that we are actively trying to manifest and bring to life. And there's a new level of inspiration coming in due to the insights that we're receiving, due to the work that we're doing in our inner realm. And this particular energy, the moon in Capricorn sextiling with Neptune and Pisces, this is our ability to take something in our, let's call it our dream state, our imaginary land, our fantasy state, and we're actually bringing it into the physical body and understanding where it is that we can actually bring some of these elements to life. We're very serious about it because that's that Capricorn energy. We're very serious about it. We're recognizing what is actually achievable. The problem is like I mentioned, half hour later, Mercury, who is in Aquarian energy, so we have the lower level intellect ruler, Mercury, in the highest form of intelligence in Aquarius energy, semi-squaring, which is a little bit of a tension point with Neptune. So what does this do? It blurs all the lines. It confuses us. It overwhelms us. Suddenly, the very brief amount of clarity that we kind of were able to receive as far as the projection goes on our wants, needs, our desires, on our dreams, our visions, our goals, suddenly everything gets muddy. Everything gets confusing. Suddenly, we don't see the path forward. We don't see the vision clearly. Suddenly, we don't see where it is that we're ever going to be able to bring these elements into our physical realm. This is a essential breakdown of the beautiful breakthrough that we just had between the moon and Neptune. Now, we are going to sit in this level of confusion for a couple of hours, but what follows that is the moon sextiling Venus. And Venus, as you know, is in Pisces energy. She's starting to come down off of her lovey-dovey kind of romanticized version of reality. There's a little bit of a bitch slap of reality coming to her as well as she finalizes her time in Pisces energy, preparing for a clean slate, new soul contracts, new direction, new path, new wants, new needs, new desires. When she enters into Aries energy, that pretty much only takes place a couple of minutes after the new moon in Pisces pops off on the 20th. So we are nearing the completion point of Venus's time in Pisces, and the moon and Venus interacting in this way, in the Capricorn energy and in the Piscean energy, is kind of bringing us down a couple of pegs, but not in a negative way. Like, it doesn't feel like we're getting kicked in our stomach. It doesn't feel like our heart is breaking. What we're doing here is that we're slowly taking those rose-colored glasses off. We're slowly looking around and getting our bearings. We're seeing where it is that our dreams and our imagination definitely got the best of us, but where it is that it kind of led us to having a new passion, a new desire for something new, and recognizing where it is that we can take those dreams and that vision of what it is that would make us happy, what it is that would bring us more joy. Of course, relationship values come into the mix here with Venus. We're realizing where it is that a change is needed, where it is that we are tapping into the magic of our imagination, if you will, and we're actually bringing it into a logical, practical place in our emotions where we are going to be able to bring some of these elements into manifestation. So emotionally speaking, we're grounded, we're anchored, we're realistic, but we're also open to the fantasy, to the imaginary reality that we've been living in, and seeing where those particular pieces could actually support us in building a new vision, a new dream when it comes to our happiness, our pleasure, and of course, our relationships. The moon goes ahead, makes a beautiful interaction with Jupiter. So another heads up, the moon makes a very positive interaction with Jupiter, and then literally like 20 minutes later, Mercury again steps up and makes a beautiful interaction with Jupiter as well. So the moon and Jupiter, of course, being about growth and expansion, beliefs, abundance, blessings. He's in Aries energy, again, very eager to kind of cut the cord with the past and to kind of get moving, create new opportunities for ourselves, really illuminating where it is that the wisdom and the knowledge of our spiritual life lessons are coming full circle here for us to be able to go out and initiate a new chapter for ourselves, re-identifying who it is that we are, rebranding ourselves, so to speak, because of the spiritual wisdom and experiences that have now essentially changed who it is that we are and our outlook on the future. We're definitely feeling big, okay? So anytime that we are interacting with Jupiter, it's a little bit big, it's a little bit extra. He tends to magnify whatever it is that we're thinking and feeling. And yes, there is this grounded energy of Capricorn, but guess what? We're realistic in what it is that we can actually accomplish. Yes, we have kind of dreamed a bigger dream. We've sorted out the details on what is achievable, what is realistic, and what is not. And now we are really illuminating for us where it is that we're feeling positive, we're feeling confident about some of the plans that we're currently working out as far as the details go in our inner realm, on what it is that we want to kind of do from here, what it is we want to create, what it is that we want to kind of grow into, if you will. So that kind of sets the tone. But then Mercury, like I had mentioned, in Aquarius energy, goes ahead and sextiles, which is another beautiful interaction with Jupiter. So what this is doing is, first of all, it is opening our minds all the way up. Secondly, it is expanding the possibilities on what it is that we've been working on as far as ideas go. Thirdly, it is giving us such a positive narrative, such an encouraging outlook, such confidence that we need to really boss ourselves up and understand that we are able to bring to life whatever it is that we focus on. We are able to create what it is that we give excitement to. This is an opportunity for us to have some profound aha moments with new ideas coming into fruition, literally, and understanding where it is that a new direction, a new path is asking for our attention, for our energy, in order for us to prepare to jump into these new ideas, to take this new path, to initiate this new direction. That, of course, will become even more clear under the new moon in Pisces. So, of course, as we've been exploring, anytime that we're taking huge amounts of leaps forward, when we are seeing progress, when we are seeing productivity, when we are seeing the change in our attitude, then those negative forces come creeping back in. And the moon is going to make an interaction, a not so nice one, with Saturn. Saturn rules over Capricorn energy. Saturn just had the conjunction with the sun here yesterday, its annual conjunction, the last time that the sun and Saturn will meet up in Aquarian energy for like 30 years. So it's a pretty big deal. The moon and Saturn coming together is a little bit of a Debbie Downer. It's a little bit of a negative narrative. We get a reality check after all of these beautiful aha moments, this beautiful mind shift, this beautiful ignition, if you will, of new ideas just starting to flow in. Suddenly, there's blockages, there's restrictions. That's what Saturn does, is he restricts us from making too much progress, from, formulating too many plans too far in advance. There's like a pumping of the brakes here, and it tends to come into the realm of narratives where we aren't as confident as we once were. And literally this happens 2 minutes after that beautiful Mercury and Jupiter pop off. So we don't get much time. It's like this flash of light, this flash of positivity, this flash of confidence. And then we sit with that magic, and then the moon and Saturn just kind of like bulldoze all those good vibes. Suddenly it is a realization of all that we have to do in order to bring these new ideas to life, all that we have to do in order to, build new elements in our reality, all the roles and responsibilities that, yes, we are completing, we are bringing to a completion point and that we've outgrown, but we're now realizing the roles and responsibilities that await us. It is very much a knock to our confidence. Let's start there. But it's very sobering as well, because it's just when we align with the magic of the possibilities, suddenly somebody just wants to speak fear into our dreams, and that somebody is us. So the sun goes ahead and bumps into Pluto. This is another not so nice interaction, and let me just kind of build this up for you. The sun is in the final degrees of Aquarius energy, so there's this pressure to really absorb the lessons. And a lot of the lessons that the sun in Aquarius energy were illuminating for us, yes, about the possibilities of the future, yes, breaking through those limiting beliefs, but even more than that, it's been about boundaries and realizing where A, boundaries have been tested and in some cases destroyed, B, where new boundaries need to be initiated and created in order to protect ourselves, but even more than that, realizing the structure, the bridge that is needed to be built in order to get us away from where it is that we're at and closer to where it is that we desire to be. So now there's like a lot of pressure on us because we're looking at our lives and recognizing that we don't even have, the solid foundation, the let's call it the sauna tubes, if you will, the concrete pillars in the earth in order for us to start building this bridge upon. Like, we have nothing. We just have plans. We just have thoughts. We just have ideas. There's nothing tangible right now. And it's really kind of getting to us all of the things that we have to change in order to actually get to building. So this is where Pluto comes in, because Pluto is the great transformer. He highlights for us the pain and the trauma and the suffering and the anguish and all of these not so nice thoughts and feelings and memories and all of this darkness, not to paralyze us, but to inspire us, to get out of the way, to boss up, to take control. And the sun and Pluto coming together, there's a bright light on the darker hidden details of our subconscious mind, where the fears are alive and well, where the doubts are alive and well, where the insecurities are preventing us from actually standing in the confidence that we earlier just experienced. And the sun shining a bright light on the vision for the future, suddenly Pluto is here and saying, okay, well, that's great, but you do have to start somewheres. And if you're standing at the land that you're about to build this bridge on, and all you're doing is looking at the challenges and the obstacles and not realizing that, first of all, you got to get out of your head and actually take action before you can make a fair assessment on whether or not you bit off more than you could chew. He's basically encouraging us to see where it is that we're the ones that are messing with the plans. We're the ones discouraging ourselves. We're the ones creating all of these obstacles and challenges in the path in which we're about to walk, and that we have the power to change it. Pluto's whole mission is for us to take the pain of our current experiences and past experiences and use it as a fuel of motivation and inspiration, to act as a catalyst to light a fire under our ass so that we are able to kind of make something beautiful out of something that was not so good. And so there is a true transformation taking here, in our psyche, because that's where Pluto kind of, starts from. You need that first domino to fall in changing your perspective and understanding. That second domino falls because when your mind changes, your emotions change. And then the third domino falls because we got to get our ass in gear and stop thinking, stop feeling, and actually get to work. Now, heads up, we're not really in the best time of the calendar to get to work, because now we have to move into Pisces season. We have a lot of undoing to do, unlearning to do. We have to revitalize our soul and our spirit. We have to muster up the courage and the bravery and the motivation and the inspiration in order to take action. But that action is coming in Aries energy when we enter into the new astrological calendar in March. This is the mental game. We're still in Aquarius energy. This is the mental game, the long game, the vision, the goal needed in our mental plane for us to hold on to as we dive into Pisces season to sort out our feelings about it. We have to hold the vision strong. Then we move into the heart space. We align our emotions with our head space. And then we get the green light go ahead to take action and make moves, which we will get in March with Aries season. So the sun and Pluto doing this little dark dance, if you will, is going to illuminate the darker parts of our psyche, of our belief system, of our experiences, so that we can see where it is that we're essentially our own worst enemies. We're the ones slowing up the plans here. We're the ones creating the challenges and obstacles. And basically, we got to get our mind right. We got to build ourselves up. We got to clear the junk out of there and become very laser focused on what it is that we want to change, what it is we want to transform. So an hour after this, exactly an hour after this takes us into late evening. The last aspect that the moon is going to make in Capricorn energy before going void, of course, is conjunct, meeting up with, teaming up with Pluto. So Pluto is at the final degrees of Capricorn. The moon is at the final degrees of Capricorn. And emotionally speaking, after this hour of the sun and Pluto kind of illuminating for us where we got to get out of our own way, where we have to have these aha moments to kind of take our narrative back to understand that we're the problem, then we have the emotional shift that follows the shift that takes place in the psyche. And the emotional shift, again, the moon, our emotions, our intuition, our unconscious self, bumping into the god of the underworld, Mr. Pluto himself, that just wants to change our inner realm into a state of empowerment from the pain and the suffering and the trauma that we've accumulated in our experiences. What we're doing here is we're bossing up in a big way. We're getting very real about it. We're very sober, very somber in our reality check here on where it is that we have to stop playing the victim and start playing the hero story in our own lives. Now, literally 4 minutes after this takes place, the last aspect that we have taking place here is the moon in Capricorn, now void. So void means that things start getting shaky. There's an intensity. There's a crisis point in our consciousness. We don't want to make any decisions. We don't want to commit to anything. We don't want to take any action while the moon is void. And then we interact with the sun in not the nicest way. And what this does is this is a choice point. So this illuminates the two paths that we currently have. And let me break it down for you. The moon in Capricorn is a traditionalist ruled by Saturn, wants us to stick with the same old, the same old roles, the same old responsibility, the same old tasks, the same old chores, the same old routines, the same old relationships. And the moon in Capricorn is very happy to stick with what is tried, tested, and true, even if it's uncomfortable. The sun over here is shining a bright light in the final degrees of this Aquarian energy, who wants nothing more than to break the traditional molds that Capricorn wants us to kind of set up our lives in, and to push the boundaries of what it is that we are capable of. What is possible for us when we break that negative narrative, when we break through that old mold, when we shatter our traditional quote unquote beliefs, and we free ourselves up to pushing ourselves outside of the comfort zone, pushing the boundaries of our mind space, pushing the boundaries of what it is that we believe is possible for us. When we push the boundaries of our own inner realm, our own emotions, our own life force energy. So anytime that the moon and the sun comes together, we kind of get pulled into two different directions. The moon wants us to look back. The sun wants us to look forward. And what we get left with is this present moment, the here and now, for you to decide what it is that you are going to do. Are you going to make peace and convince yourself that everything is tickety-boo so that you can stick with the same old and continue to get what it is that you've already got? Or are you going to say, you know what, I'm looking back on my past. I understand its use. I understand its purpose because it built me, molded me into who it is that I currently am. And this is preparation for who it is that I'm setting out to be, because I'm looking forward to breaking all of the rules, all of the parameters, all of the restrictions, all of the narratives, all of the negative ass emotions that have kept me stuck in the same old, same old. I am ready to go out into foreign territory. I'm ready to try something new. I am ready to put myself out there in a way that I have never put myself out there before, because I want a different reality. And this is very much where we're ending the day off. Keep in mind that we're about to A, shift the moon from this Capricorn energy to Aquarian energy, and B, where the sun is about to leave Aquarian energy for Pisces energy. We got a lot going on here on Saturday, so I do encourage you to jump in and take a listen to the daily forecast and the astro forecast that I put out for Pisces season.